Happy New Year, everyone. Welcome back to Midweek Encouragement. I am glad that you can join us here. Today is January 3rd, and it was the year 1987 that my wife and I got married on this day. And come to find out, we've got a lot of friends that have been married on this day. In fact, one particular set of friends were married on the same day, the same year. Wendy was supposed to be in their wedding, and Tina was supposed to be in our wedding, but it just didn't work out because we chose the same day, which is great because that's a lot of years together, and that's good news to have. This is a new year, and I am not one to make New Year's resolutions. Maybe you've already made some and you've already broke some within the first 24 hours of the new year. I believe that the secret to keeping a New Year's resolution is to not make any. I think if we are going to do something, we need to make some goals for ourselves. And in the process of making a goal, we need to set up a map or a plan of how we are going to achieve that, how we're going to get there. If it's going to, we choose, I want to be healthier this year, then we need to make a plan of how we're going to exercise, how long we're going to walk, what kind of exercise we're going to do, what are we going to eat, what are we going to take in and consume so that we can have a healthier life. But Ben Franklin said, by failing to plan, you are preparing to fail. And Winston Churchill put it, he who fails to plan is planning to fail. No matter what your goals may be for this new year, maybe your goal is to write 2024 on all the checks correctly. It's tough to change over to a new year. But what it is I think we need to ask ourselves, what do we want to be doing several months from now? And I think one of the key ingredients is to think about who we take along with us. When my kids were little and we would go to a business that had an elevator, we would allow one to push the button on the outside, whether we're going up or down, and the other one to push the floor number so we could go to the floor we were going to. And on the way back out, they reversed. And the one who had pushed the interior button pushed the exterior button. The one who pushed the exterior button pushed the interior button. So we just made it so it was fair as we could be. But I tell you that because I think people are like elevators. They're either going to take us up or they're going to take us down. And it's a matter of which buttons are being pushed. Some people are going to be the wind beneath our wings. Some are going to be boat anchors to us. And some are going to be energy givers and others are going to be energy vampires, taking everything out of us. I've often said, show me who you run with and I'll show you what you'll become. The Bible tells us in Psalm chapter 1, it says, blessed is the one who does not walk in the steps with the wicked or stand in the way of sinners or take or sit in the company of mockers, but whose delight is in the law of the Lord, and on it he meditates both day and night. That person is like a tree planted by streams of water, which yields its fruit in season, and whose leaf does not wither. Whatever they do prospers. Not so the wicked. They are like chaff that the wind blows away. Therefore the wicked will not stand in the judgment, nor sinners in the assembly of the righteous. For the Lord watches over the way of the righteous, but the way of the wicked leads to destruction. Ellen Wheeler Wilcox wrote this poem called Which One Are You? And it says there are two kinds of people on the earth today, just two kinds of people, no more I say. Not the sinner and the saint, for that's well understood. The good are half bad and the bad are half good. Not the rich or the poor, for the rate of man's wealth. You must first know the state of his conscience and health. Not the humble and the proud, for in life's little span, who puts on vain airs is not counted a man. Not the happy or the sad or the swift flying years, but bring each man his laughter and each man his tears. No, the two kinds of people on earth, I mean, are the people who lift and the people who lean. Wherever you go, you will find the earth's masses are always divided in just these two classes. And oddly enough, you will find too, I ween, there's only one lifter and 20 who lean. In which class are you? Are you easing the load of overtaxed lifters who toil down the road? Or are you a leaner who lets others share your portion of labor and worry and care? Now, this says that there are only two kinds of people, but I don't think there's just two kinds of people. I actually think that there are four kinds of people that we're going to meet. There are the people that are adders. They are the people who add life, and we enjoy being around them. Someone once said, do all the good you can to all the people you can in all the ways that you can, as long as ever you can. There are people who add value to you. You might be an adder if you intentionally give of yourself to help others. People who don't require me to do a lot of work. We just want to be a friend and be a listening ear and an understanding heart, a helping hand. Those that are more interested in our future than our past. Then there's group two, and we call them subtractors. We tolerate them. It takes skill to build something, but it doesn't take any skill to tear something down, and that's what they do. It appears to me it requires a lot more to move forward, and a lot more energy is burned up just tearing things down. There's also this group. I love this group. They are called multipliers. We value these people. Adders lift people up, while multipliers, they stand nearby. They applaud your successes, and they do not yell boo when you have a failure. And then we have the dividers. And we need to avoid the dividers. I heard about a company that was making bulldozers, and they had this one model. It was called Model G, and somebody asked, what's the G stand for? And the salesperson said, it stands for gossip. This machine, like tail bearers, this machine moves a lot of dirt, and it moves it fast. Well, dividers are the ones that take us down. I think deep down, we all want to be pushing the up button of the elevators. We want to take others up, and we want to take ourselves up. So how can we do that? I think that there's some things we can do. Number one, we need to commit ourselves to daily encouragement. And one of the ways we do that is we find encouragement in doing random acts of kindness. One of the simplest acts of kindness that you can do, and I know I say this a lot, but I think it's so true, and it frustrates me that other people don't do it. Maybe it's because I feel so motivated by that. And it's just simply pushing a shopping cart back in the store, putting it in the corral, making it so you're protecting other people's car, and getting that thing out of the way so that you don't get that cart that has the wobbly wheel or the one that always wants to pull one way or the other because it's been used and abused. I was in Dallas last month, and my mother and my brother and my niece were going into Walmart. And then when we pulled into the parking lot, there were two of those motorized scooters out there. And I think that those need to be taken back in so the next person that comes in the store will have one that's charged up and ready to go, and the sun's not beating on it or the seat's not freezing cold. But there's two in the parking lot, and I'm thinking, all right, my brother and we are going to have a great race. Hopefully we don't be crashing into each other or something like that. But all of a sudden, the employee of Walmart comes out and gets on one of the carts. Takes away all of our fun, all of the joy, and all the embarrassment that my mother might have experienced if we would have been racing like we were thinking about doing. But when we get inside, the employee says, "Oh, you're such an angel." Didn't she know what she was looking at? Yeah, but you know what? My brother was there, and angels walk in pairs. Lifters also know how to, they know what to feed on. There's a story of a man that was struggling, and he said that I have two dogs in me. One is evil and one is good. And somebody asked him which one wins, and he says the one I feed the most. So kindness is a thing that we feed, and we feed it by doing acts of kindness. It's a matter of who we hang out with. And according to Psalm, when we spend time with God daily in his word, we become like a tree planted by streams of water, and we are always producing fruit. As a lifter, you need to find the difference between hurting and helping. Are you an empowerer or an enabler to help other people make poor decisions? Lifters initiate the positive in a negative. I knew of a woman that lived next door to this person that was kind of prejudiced, and she was renting this house, and the man was always making these really mean and hateful comments. And the landlord said, "What is something that you do really well? Is there something you make that's really, really good?" She says, I make a great apple pie." He says, "You need to make one and take it over there. Don't say anything. You just say, I made this and I'm bringing it to you." And from that point on, The man never used any hateful words. In fact, from then on, he was always nice. We will attract more bees with honey than we will with vinegar. Another thing about being a lifter, being one that takes people up instead of taking people down, lifters, when faced with a question of integrity, will always choose integrity. Your walk talks and your talk talks, but your walk talks louder than your talk talks. If you keep lying to others, you will be lying to yourself to the point that you begin to believe lies more than you do the truth. The word integrity comes from the word integrate. It means to join together. And the opposite of integrity is disintegrate, or the opposite of integrate is disintegrate, to fall apart. A house may look great from the outside, but if it's got termite damage, it's going to disintegrate. So as we walk close to God the Father, we read and absorb His Word, we're going to begin to change, but it also takes the change that we sometimes need to change who our friends are. We need to change what we absorb, what we're listening to, whether that's in media or the people that we surround ourselves with. We might need to change our attitudes and even the places that we go. If we desire to have a greater sanity in this new year, we're going to require that we change and we move away from some of our old habits and not take on some new ones or exchange one addiction or one bad habit for another one. We need to be taking in what God created us to have. We need to know what is right and wrong, and we need to choose what is right. We need to surround ourselves with the truth, and God's word is the truth. And when we're ready to walk in the truth, Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. And no one will come to the Father except through Him. So let's choose Jesus this year.